Good morning. On this video, I'm going to show the gear that I will be using on the Appalachian Trail here starting in a few weeks, and the differences between the gear I have now and what I used on the Pacific Crest Trail this last year. Hope you enjoy. So here's the overview of the gear that I will be taking. Just a quick glance of everything basically that I will be living on for the next 4 to 6 months. And we'll go one by one through everything. A lot of this stuff is the same stuff I used on the Pacific Crest Trail. Happy that a lot of it lasted because but some of the things that obviously I'm changing out is based on the different kinds of weather and terrain that I'll be dealing with on the Appalachian Trail. So first things first. Let's go over here to the sleep system, to the sleeping bag. It is a mummy style, and it is the Jewel 21 degree. So the cool thing about this is, first off, it is actually a female's sleeping bag. I was going to get a totally different one that is a 15 degree, but this one was actually on clearance at REI. I guess it was a rental that they discontinued, and so I got this at about $300 less than I would have had to pay for the 15 degree that I was going to get. But the good thing is I'm 6 foot tall, and this is made for, it's an extra long, I guess, for the female, so it definitely fits my body, being a 6 foot tall. So anytime you could save money, that's great. So here's the cool thing, that 15 degree, I checked the specs on it, and this is 21 degrees, so that's what it's rated at. But more importantly is here, the temperature range. So as you can see here, the T comfort is 21. The T limit is 9 degrees. The T limit on the 15 degree bag was actually 15. So this actually is the cold side of the limit is actually colder for this one than the other one, which means, you know, on those days when it gets down to 9 or 10, this is going to be more comfortable. But also I will be wearing, you know, if it gets down to, like, say 5 at night, be able to put extra layers on to keep warmer. Found that out in the Sierra, definitely in the PCT this year, that sometimes it gets quite cold at night. And I only had a 30 degree bag last year, or this last thru-hike, you know, on the PCT. And all I had to do is just put extra layers on, and I was quite comfortable, but it was pushing it at times. Definitely when it got down like 25, 30, it was definitely pushing it. So I wanted to get this, you know, give me an extra 10 to 15 degrees and of comfort. But there's some other things that have changed as well for that as well, because there's going to be some, I mean, it's quite mild starting out. You got to be 60 or 70, but it can also get down to 0, you know, through Georgia and the Smokies especially starting out. So the next thing that I want to, so in case I didn't say there, I had a 30 degree bag this last year, so I've replaced that with this 21 degree, which will save you that 10 or 15 degrees. This here is my puffy. Let's see here if I can open it up one-handed. So as you can see, this is my puffy, but also I use it when I fold it up as a pillow at night. I'm going to continue to do that this time around, and I'll also have other things, if that is needed to be used, that I will be able to, just like last year, there was, I think, once or twice I had to use the puffy at night. So if I have to use the puffy, you know, wearing it, there will be other things I can put on to make even extra layers. Right here is the airbed. This is the Air Core Ultra from, Big Agnes. I couldn't remember the name at first. It's rated for 4. So it's insulated, definitely keeps you much warmer than what the ground is, no matter how warm the cold the ground is. Cool thing about this is right here is a repair kit, you know, with little holes or anything, but somehow I went from the Sierras and on, never getting a hole here at all. I never lost air at night, so I'm sticking with what works, and that one definitely works for me, so I'm going to keep going with that in the Appalachian Trail until it doesn't work, and then if I need to replace, we'll figure that out at that point. But for right now, that's working good. I'm not going to replace that. So for those of you who don't know, that goes on the ground, or in the tent at the ground, and then that would go under the sleeping bag here to give it that extra layer of warmth, obviously extra layer of comfort as well, with the osteoporosis and the back fracture from last year. Still have a lot of back pain. I can't just do the foam that I started out with last year. I changed this in this year, and that definitely was much better on my back. Then also here, bandanas. If you see any of my videos, you know that I definitely have a lot of bandanas that I use for different purposes, whether it's washing, drying dishes, cleaning things off, obviously emergency. Hate to say it, but if you run out of toilet paper, a good bandana works. I always have 3 or 4, though, for different situations and purposes. For the base layer, same thing as I did last year. It's just the REI, very moisture wicking, very nice and warm, but very lightweight. Then, of course, this same t-shirt going to have available for the warmer days. And then this is new for this year. This is my middle layer, my mid layer. And this thing is beautiful and warm. I tried it out here today, and it just keeps you super warm. So that would go on the really cold days or at night underneath, the puffy when needed. So that's kind of the clothes in a nutshell. Over here, the shoes. Last year started out with the Hoka Speed Goats, and I loved them. Got a lot of blisters, but I loved them. And I did not like Ultras in the least bit until the last leg, going the last 300 or 400 miles. They had these on sale, which is the Ultra Olympus 4s. They're not like a normal Ultra where there's like very thin soles or, cushioning. It's actually very thick, so it's kind of like a Hoka meets an Ultra. And I'm telling you right now, never had a blister. Things were extremely comfortable. Your toes can move around and breathe. Everybody's feet's different, so it's going to be different for everybody, but those worked for me. And as far as I'm concerned, that's going to be my go-to shoe from here on out on any hike. I just love them. They dry quickly. They're very lightweight. They make you feel very comfortable as you're walking. So cooking system will be the same. When I was in the desert last year, I cold soaked everything. But after that, I used the cooking system, and it's just simply this. There's the jet boil, but simply this goes on top of this, and then you boil your water, do your potatoes, whatever else. I pretty much just use that cup for like tea and whatnot, so forth. So over here for more clothes is gloves and hat. That's the same one that I used last year. This is kind of a thin layer glove that I use most of the time, but I do have another one material like that that I can put on over those. Those are just real thin, basically moisture wicking type of gloves. Very lightweight. Over here, very dirty right now because the last time I used it was like in a windy sandstorm, but that's the rain jacket that I'll be using. And again, same as I did last year. First aid kit that still have a good portion left from the PCT. There's some things I had to use out of it that I'm going to replace, like some Band-Aids and some different things like that that I don't need to put in there. But this is my go-to when I had that foot infection. Oh my goodness, triple antibiotic. It's a godsend, I'll tell you that. Just another bag I got here, very, very ultra lightweight to be able to use. Normally I use Ziploc bags. That's actually lighter than a Ziploc bag. I actually got that for Christmas from my girlfriend's sister and family. So definitely appreciate that. And they also got me this, which is pretty cool, a very lightweight flask. Obviously just another way to put water in there. Wink, wink. All right, so moving on. Right here is my bear canister. I am not one who hangs bags. I am one who uses bear canisters. It's 2 pounds of extra weight, but I don't care. It makes me feel secure, makes everything more organized for me. As you can see, I still have food in here. I always have food in here. Never leave home without that. Yeah, baby. I use Pedialyte and, all types of different things for electrolytes as well. But for eating utensil, I just use the Sport for everything. But food in there, that's going to change every time I resupply. So, that's the bear canister. And let's see where we're going to go next. Over here, I have the electronic bag. This is where I keep my headset. This is my charger. I can't think of what they're called. Charging bank. It has 20,000 in it, so it normally gets my phone about 4 times charged. which I don't think I'll need near as much on the Appalachian trails I did the PCT, because you go a lot of times where you're running out because you don't have a lot of towns to stop at. So I think that will more than suffice, where I had to get a little bit imaginative at times on the PCT as far as what I was charging and videoing. Obviously with the YouTube channel, I use a lot of it for that. I keep it in airplane mode most of the time, so I don't use a lot of the battery life in it, but still it goes down pretty quick when you're out there with no outlets around. This is what I use to charge, so I can take that. Various wires, obviously, that we need for charging different things. This has a rechargeable battery in it as well, so that gets charged. This is, I don't know if you guess call it a cosmetic bag, and I'll just take it out here real quick, show you what I take with me. A comb, if I need it, rarely ever use it. Toothbrush, toothpaste. Don't leave home without it. Body Glide for chafing and such. Nail clippers. Yeah, I'm going to have to replace that one because that's all rusty. But I have another one on my keychain I can put there. I also have this, but I never use it because the body chafing here, the Body Glide, is all I ever need. But that's all I take for cosmetic stuff. I do have another Ziploc bag where I keep various pills as far as, ibuprofen or Excedrin or my, other pills that I need for like calcium and what's the other one? Anti-nausea pills if I need it. So basically I have a Ziploc bag to keep those all in as well. That's not in here. Going back to clothing as well. The other thing that I did not have out here is I will have 3 pairs of Darn Tough socks. I always use Darn Tough, and 3 pair of Darn Tough socks. The reason being is, a lot of times I wear double to keep feet extra cushioning and everything. So I always want an extra one, if something gets wet, to be able to change those out. I always have one in case the other 2 need to be dried out or something overnight. The backpack is the same as last year as well. It's the Flash 55. It's definitely went through a little bit of wear and tear, as you can see. Most of that came on Mount St. Helens when I was having to scoot down boulders in certain areas, but it definitely has held up. No holes or anything. I don't even have a rain gear for it. I keep a rain protection for it. I just use a garbage bag on top if it's needed. Probably will do a little better than that on the Appalachian Trail than just a garbage bag because obviously it rains quite a bit more. But it's never leaked inside even without that, when it was pretty heavy rains in the Sierra at times. Never got anything wet on the inside, so it seals pretty good. Glasses. Gotta have the reading glasses. Definitely ran out of those about 30 miles in, and thank goodness I had a waitress who felt bad and gave me hers, and I was able to get some at the next town stop, but that was definitely helpful at that point. But these I take with me, keep them right here in this pocket, so they're always there. These sunglasses, my favorites. If you know anything about me, I lose and break sunglasses left and right, so I never pay a lot for my sunglasses. And I'm kind of known as the guy with the white sunglasses when I was on the PCT. And I'm telling you, I dropped them off mountains, I dropped them on stones and rocks and rivers. Somehow they just keep ticking. They don't break. These little screws in the end somehow fell out, and yet they're still staying on, so I don't know. They work pretty darn good. They even have a couple scratches on one. I'd love to replace them with some new ones, but I don't even know if they sell them anymore. I don't see them. But those are my go-to. I love those glasses, the way they feel. They stay on securely in wind and everything else. But obviously we keep the water in there. That's not part of this for the gear list, but I'll have at least 2 smart water bottles with me at all times. And talking about that, this is the water filtration system. The Sawyer Squeeze. I have 2 bags and the squeeze itself. I used one the whole time on the PCT. Never had to replace it. As long as you're doing the maintenance on it and keeping everything good and fresh. And backwashed. I don't think that's the right word, but basically, getting the filter cleaned out, you're good to go. The half Mountain Dew bottle there is for scooping. When it might not be easy, just get it with the bag, because the bag has these little openings, so it's not always that easy. So let's see. I think that pretty much covers everything except for one, and that is right here, the tent. The big change for this year, besides the sleeping bag, is this tent. This is quite a bit less. So last year I had a tent that was like 5 pounds. It was roomy though. I love that. But then right before the Sierra, I changed that to the Eureka, which was basically sleeping like a mummy in a casket. It was nice. I couldn't sit up in it. That was the only downfall. I couldn't sit up in it, and it would get condensation because it was so close to my face when it's close to water. So I did not want that this year. Definitely the good tent worked out really well for what it was needed. But this year I'm going with the Quarter Dome SL1. This is SL1 means it's for one person. It's not set up, but you can look that up if you want to see what it looks like. You'll definitely see it in the upcoming videos on the trail. You'll definitely see it quite a few times set up. But it's quite a bit higher, so I can actually sit up in it as well, which is huge at night when you might not be ready to sleep and you want to sit up and read or do some writing or something. You're able to do that. So that, and it's only like 2.5 pounds, something like that. So it's actually saved me another pound, saved me like 3.5 pounds off the original tent, saved me another pound off the I can't think of what it's called right now, but the Eureka tent, which is basically just sliding in. I can't really even sit up to get in, but that is basically a bivvy. That's what I'm trying to think of. It's kind of like a bivvy. So between that and that, I'm saving the sleeping bag. I'm saving about 3 or 4 pounds right there. So that's a good thing. My base weight last time, I think, was about 17, 19, somewhere in there, but I cut a lot out in the beginning part of the PCT and kept cutting out as I went. The more I learned, the better I got at what I needed, being a minimalist, I guess. But this is really it. I have one change of clothes. That's it. I wear the same thing to bed as I do out walking when I go to town. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to show you. The bag that this air mattress goes in right here, I also double that so that the air mattress goes in it, but it also is my laundry bag when I'm in town doing laundry. A lot of times I'll even just wear... I don't have my shorts out here. The shorts I wear Patagonia, and they have the underwear built right in, so I don't even really need underwear or anything. But normally, I'll wear those shorts and a raincoat or something like that to do my laundry. If I need to walk somewhere, that's a perfect way to do it. So I try to use as many things as dual purposes as I can. Like the pillow and sleeping bag, or pillow and puffy. They're using that for dual purposes. Just anything I can to conserve weight and everything else. But I've had this pretty fine-tuned for me. It's not for everybody, what I use. Everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own way. But hopefully you can see some of this and get some ideas what you would want to use on a thru hike or what might work for you. But hopefully you give you a little better understanding of what I need out there to make this happen and make it work. So that's it. All goes in this backpack. Goes on my back. I would say it is probably going to be right around 12 to 14, somewhere in there, and my calculations in my head. But we'll find out on day one, going to Amicalola, starting to the staircase. When I register and walk through that archway, there's a place there to weigh it. So I'll know exactly what it is with the food and the water and everything. Can't wait. We're getting close to the time to start. And all I got to say is let's do this. Live life. And I forgot to mention that these are the sandals I take for when I'm camping, so I can take my shoes off, because that's a very important thing when you're not walking, taking those shoes off, letting the dogs breathe. So that also goes with me as well. But that's it. The gear for 2023, the Appalachian Trail. Woohoo!